There we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the OCNJ Local, your podcast for everything happening here in America's greatest family resort. We're your hosts, Dominick Dougherty and Drew Fasy.
And we are your local guys. Dom, I'm impressed. We were on hiatus there, and you still got the finger right.
I'm more than just a pretty face sometimes. But no, man, it has been
than a pretty face other times.
Well, most of the time, to be honest with you, it's just it's a figure of speech, probably from your day and age. I don't even know what the figures of speeches are from my day and age. I know the ones from this day and age are weird, but maybe that's because I'm getting a little bit over the hill. Definitely on the backside now. But no, man, it has been a while. It's almost the middle of August. I hate to say it, but it really is almost the middle of August here. I mean,
yeah, college kids are going to start heading back. We take Aiden back to Colorado State on Wednesday.
Yeah, my son has an orthodontist appointment. I'm like, oh, it's August 14th. I'm like, that's next week. So it's kind of wild to think that, it's abruptly coming to an end, is almost as fast as it started here. And Labor Day is early.
Football started.
Yep.
So you're getting close to the fall when football starts, when you start having camp.
Yeah, it's sorry, Lucy's up on the boardwalk with a friend. They're on their way back right now.
All right. Well, while you're texting Lucy, which is very important, how about if I give a couple shout outs?
Sure, please do.
Okay. First shout out, the Miss Night in Venice contestants. As you know, we talked about this before. The winner of the Miss Night in Venice is the highest fundraiser. So these kids spend a lot of time fundraising for some pretty good local charities. So the contestants this year were Brooke LeBrand, Callie Polderak, Courtney Conrad, Emily Russo, Kayla Catino, Kaylin Kelly, Madison Dodo, Reagan McCormick, Skylar Cohen, and Taylor Mulford. And the 2024 Miss Night in Venice is Reagan McCormick.
Congratulations, Reagan.
The charities that they were raising funds for were really good ones. The Ocean City After Prom Party, Shore Medical Center, the Ocean City Ecumenical Council Food Cupboard, the Ocean City Arts Center, the Hero Campaign, the OC Tabernacle After School Programs, the Sunshine Foundation, Ryan's Case for Smiles, South Jersey, the Ocean City OCNJ Care Project, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Atlantic and Cape May counties, and Quilts of Valor. So thank you to the Miss Night in Venice contestants, and congratulations to Reagan McCormick. Second shout out.
What's the other weird Miss something that goes on that same time?
Oh yeah, the not Miss Crustacean, but it's something else. I forget. We covered that. We'll have to go back.
We did.
Listen
I know.
to
I forget what it is.
Last year,
I saw something. I saw something about it on a paper.
I did too.
Made me think of it. Yeah. But I forget.
So the
congratulations to that winner, though.
Yep. The second shout out is to the Moreland Square Theater. Grand reopening July 26th. And the first movies, let's put this on record, the first movies shown at the Moreland Square Theater were Deadpool and Wolverine, Twisters, Despicable Me 4, and Inside Out 2. So it's exciting that the Moreland reopened. We've been waiting for it. We are hoping for it, and they're finally reopened. I hope that they are open year round. I don't know. Do you know, Dom, if they plan to stay open year round?
I think I saw until January.
Okay.
So I mean, it makes sense.
We'll take it.
A lot of people close January, February.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they may not come back till later. Lucy and Corinne did go see a movie there, and they said it's very, very nice.
Is that right? Good.
Yeah, they called it an earlier show of Despicable Me, and they were actually the only people in the theater. But as they were coming, well, I mean, it was a beautiful day. You know, Lucy was jammed up with her nose. So she couldn't really do anything. So they went to the movies and saw Despicable Me 4. And Corinne said though, as they were leaving, there were a lot of people coming in waiting to go see other movies and stuff. So, you know, I mean, it was a beautiful day at the beach.
I'm sure it's been packed in the evenings.
I'm sure it's been busy over the past few days with all this rain we had from Debbie.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, you know,
so glad to have it back.
We tried to go to the beach today, and we tried to go around like 12:30, and there was no parking spots in the north end, even in the meters. So we drove down to the 30s, no parking spots in the 30s. I think we finally landed at 50th Street before we were just like, we found a parking spot. But we were trying to surf. We were trying to surf though too, so it wasn't like we looked everywhere. But you know, by the time we found a surfable beach, we were down at 50. So people definitely got out today now that the sun's back out, and it's the middle of August.
I went to a beach that will remain nameless, and found plenty of bicycle parking.
Yeah, that was our big mistake. One was like, why are we driving? Like, we're being lazy. Let's just ride our bikes.
Yeah, seriously lazy.
Yeah. Well, you know, Corinne had to go to work, so we were just trying to make a quick trip, and we hadn't had any issues with it before. But I guess, like, you know, with there being waves and people being cooped up for the past couple of days and inside, you know,
I think that had a lot to do with it.
Make the most of it. So
yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it.
Did.
All right, so number 3, Kilwin's Specialty Candies and Ice Cream. They are open. They opened beginning of last week, at 8th and Wesley.
It's right down the street from my house.
It could be dangerous, Dom.
I saw your comment that you made.
Yeah, a group of us from the neighborhood rode our bikes down, and last Sunday, and you know, I've had some good ice cream. Like, I had ice cream at UConn. I had ice cream. There's a place down in Sanibel that makes their own ice cream that's off the hook. Pinocchio's, and Kilwin's was the best ice cream I've ever had. It was off the hook. They have 24 flavors, plus they have homemade candies. They have caramel apples, freshly made caramel apples. They have a lot of stuff in there, but the ice cream was wow, good stuff.
Well, good stuff. I intend to go there soon. And by soon, I probably mean before they actually publish this, like tomorrow. The question is, have you been to Petroni's?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes, sir. I have.
Oh, he made it. He made it.
Yes, sir. I did. And
well, I didn't get a text, so I'm assuming that.
Wow. You know, I should have, but wow. You're right. Magical. And Dom, I couldn't eat it. I only ate half. I made 2 meals, and that was a half. That wasn't a whole. I made 2 meals out of a half.
Yeah,
my eyes wanted to, but my stomach couldn't handle it. It was very, very good.
It is good. I haven't gone back since. But I'll have to.
I haven't either. That was last week. I haven't gone back since, but I want to.
Well, I mean, last week.
So
you had one more.
Now, are they Volteco's hours? Like, are they gonna close like Monday?
I have no idea.
I'll bet they don't. I'll bet they stayed open.
Volteco's never closed until like October.
No, they close Monday of Labor Day weekend.
During the week, but they would stay open on the weekends until like Columbus Day. definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought
They would go. They would
famous
go.
for closing
No, they
Labor
would
Day
go like
Monday.
they would go Friday, Saturday, Sunday
Oh,
for
okay.
those couple weeks. Definitely, because I
Hopefully
remember.
they stay open for a good bit.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because there's that's local summer, right? That's when
Yeah,
I'll be going to the Moreland, right? That's when I'll be going to Petroni's on a Saturday, right? That's when I'll be going to Kilwins on a Saturday night. That's
yeah.
our time. Yeah.
Yes,
So
it'll be here quicker.
finally, Dom, the final shout out, and this is a big one. Air Force Staff Sergeant Dustin Panacione and his family, and Air Force Senior Airman Isaiah Schwarber and his family. So shout out to them. They were the recipients of the American Legion Post 524 Rest and Relaxation Program. Each of these veterans were given a week-long stay in Ocean City in a donated home. They were given a police and fire department welcome motorcade into town. They were each given a handmade personalized quilt, the quilt of honor, and local businesses donated meals at local restaurants, gift cards, ride tickets, candy, special passes to the Cape May Zoo, and the mayor gave each serviceman a key to the city. So shout out to the American Legion, to the City of Ocean City, the OCPD, the OCFD, the owner of the home, and all the local businesses who so generously donated along with the American Legion. I think that's a great program to send a couple of veterans to the shore for some R&R.
For sure.
Good
For
stuff.
sure. All right, Drew. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the recent news that has, sent shockwaves around the tri-state area. The
Big
announcement
news, historic news.
that after 94 summers, Gillian's Wonderland Pier will close sometime in October, and it will not reopen. So we'll have a special guest joining us as well, too. So stick around, and we will be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back to this episode of the OCNJ Local, your podcast for everything happening here in America's greatest family resort. Joining us tonight is a special guest, Mr. Ken Wisnefski, a true man about town here in Ocean City. If you're in Ocean City, Ken, not just for his stature, but for his generosity and his commitment to keeping Ocean City the great place it is. So thanks, Ken, for being here with us.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it. And a man about town. Again, I don't know what I'm about, but I'll take it. I like it. I like the intro.
There we go.
Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you very much, Coach. Nice to see you both.
Yeah. Good times. So, we haven't really yet got into our topic of the day. It's been a good ride. We did kind of, make the announcement, and it's nothing that anybody doesn't already know about, unless you've been living under a rock for the past 48 hours. Gillian's Wonderland Pier, after 94 summers, will shut its doors and unfortunately not reopen here in Ocean City. And, we're just kind of here to discuss, what does this mean for Ocean City? This is an iconic place. I mean, 94 years, it's been here for all our lives, all our my parents' lives. Truth be told, on the Ferris wheel, I had my first kiss. Got memories there. So, I've been seeing a lot of people on social media saying the same thing. People wanting to set up GoFundMes to save it. it definitely is a big announcement here.
That would be a pretty significant GoFundMe to actually be able to save it. Although that would be interesting to see. But there's no question about it. I mean, I think the biggest thing that, kind of looking at Wonderland and everything that's gone on is it really is an iconic piece of Ocean City, and the Gillian name and the brand is something that is really become synonymous with Ocean City, especially the people that come down here in the summer and seeing the Ferris wheel and everything that kind of exists on the north end of the boardwalk there. The notion that it's no longer going to be here has definitely brought out a lot of thoughts and a lot of different viewpoints on things. But at the end of the day, I mean, the reality of it is losing something like that is never a good thing for the city, and it's unfortunate. And a lot of people do have a lot of memories there. I mean, myself included, is probably one of the first places we really came down to in Ocean City, and our kids when they were young, we took them on the rides there, and I think it's just that type of thing to think that could no longer be there. It's brought out a lot of emotion in a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's not just the tourist attraction. Uh, while it certainly is a huge anchor to the north end of the boardwalk, and I'm sure that the boardwalk merchants are concerned with the future, but the Wonderland Pier and the Gillian family have meant so much to the community over the years. I mean, if you're any kind of community organization and you're looking to, do a fundraiser and you're looking for donors or gift baskets, Gillian's was always one of maybe, 5 boardwalk businesses that you could absolutely count on. You go down the boardwalk, you have Johnson's Popcorn, you have the Manco and Manco, you have Playland, and you have Gillian's. You could always, and I don't mean to leave any out. There's others, but
Surf
you
Mall,
could
Gillies.
always, yep, Gillies, absolutely. You can always count on those businesses to support the community, especially the kids. Gillian's was always supportive. If you remember back during COVID, they couldn't have the after prom in the high school because it wasn't fully opened yet. So Gillian's hosted the after prom at no cost. They just opened it up and brought. I mean, that kind of support in the community, and that's Jay and Michelle, obviously. But the whole Wonderland Pier, you can't replace that. It's not just the business during the summer of what it means to the boardwalk. It's everything that Wonderland Pier brought to the community for years, right?
There's no question about it. I mean, I think again, I agree with you. The Gillians were always very generous with all the organizations and everything that's gone on. And I think that, probably, one of the biggest things right now is, kind of what happens next. And it seems that seems to be where a lot of people have really kind of fixated kind of their thoughts and kind of their notions. And, my feeling is, obviously, for whatever reason, and, there's tons of conjecture around it, but, I'm sure, Drew, you just mentioned COVID. I'm sure COVID timeframe didn't help any type of amusement parks or any type of business that, relies on, kind of people, coming in. The one summer there was a very truncated type of summer. And I'm sure that really, kind of impacted, all the boardwalk merchants. And I'm sure, obviously Gillian's was one of them, but to say, that some of the issues that have kind of gone on related to kind of the funding and, some of the things that have kind of taken place, my opinion's always been, that despite the fact that the Gillians have been such a kind of a key ingredient here in Ocean City, at the end of the day, anybody that owns a business, any of those boardwalk owners up there, they don't have any obligation to continue to need to run that business just because people want them to. If things have evolved and their situation has evolved, maybe it's financially, maybe it's health, maybe it's any of those number of things, they have the opportunity and the right to be able to say, hey, we can't operate this business for whatever reason, and they can sell it and they can do whatever they want with it. And I think the question that really kind of comes up, and the one that is really probably at the forefront of a lot of people's thinking, is really, okay, we're aware of, the property being sold a few years ago. There's been tons of speculation around what that could possibly mean. And my feeling has always been that, Jay, has the right to do whatever he wants with that particular piece of property. I think the question and the piece that I've always thought is, he has that right and that obligation to do that, and they can put whatever they want there. But at the end of the day, where things can become a challenge, and where I think a lot of the concern is, to get some of those things done that might want to be done with that property, does it require things to be changed? Does it require laws, ordinances, different things to really be able to be changed to be able to fulfill what they're looking to do there? So as much as I believe they should be able to do whatever they want with that property and hold no obligation to anyone, at the same time, where I would have an issue would be as if things need to evolve and things need to change to basically be able to fit that particular location to become whatever it might be. And I think that to me would be the thing that I would say, would bother me more than the fact that maybe they just needed to move on from the business for whatever reason it is.
All right, so let's talk about what you're talking about.
Sure.
So everybody knows in 2021, Jay Gillian sold the land to that Wonderland Pier sits on to Eustace Mita, who's a developer and hotel operator,
Christovus Builders,
County, Christovus Builders, and Icona Resorts. We had a show on. We talked about this. My understanding is that Wonderland Pier had a 3-year lease, which expires this year, and we don't know what that looks like. We don't know that lease wasn't being extended, right? So that's part of the speculation. And the further speculation is that Eustace Mita made a presentation to City Council a year and a half ago or so, proposing a $150 million mega resort hotel between 5th and 6th Street, which is currently Dunes and Beach, right? Not everybody. Don was in favor of it. A lot of people were not, including the mayor, so that plan went away. So the speculation is that now that Wonderland Pier is closing its doors, that Eustace Mita will build a hotel on that site. And what Ken was referencing is that site is not currently zoned for a hotel. That is in the boardwalk zone. And the boardwalk zone is not does not allow hotels. So there would have to be
a portion of it is in the boardwalk zone.
Well,
not
again,
all.
Dom, we don't know that. Is that one parcel? Is that 3 parcels? We don't know that.
Either way, there's not the portion that's not in the boardwalk zone is not big enough to build any kind of hotel or anything substantial. Like I don't even think you could build condos there in the part that's not in the boardwalk zone.
Right.
So
everyone is up in arms, and the conspiracy theorists are out there, and they're hammering Jay Gillian and hammering Eustace Mita that this was a plan and all that. And
but
the fact is that nobody really knows, right?
Is it even viable? Like, do you think Maury's Pier or someone like that might come up and buy it and bring it back? Or,
or lease it.
It doesn't seem like, from the press release that came out, it doesn't seem to me that Jay is interested in selling the Wonderland name or selling the business itself. Like he seems like I'm closing up. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe he's getting offers, now that now that that's come out, I have no idea. But how reasonable is it to think someone's going to come in and purchase the business, the rides, and then still have to lease the land?
I'm not in that business. I don't really know anything about that business. You would guess that size property in that location would be would offer itself to a good profitable business in the amusement world, right? But I do know that the regulations on those businesses and the insurance on those businesses and the pressure of labor on those businesses, especially now that minimum wage is over $15 an hour, right? There's a lot of expense and a lot of pressures there that the social media cowboys don't know anything about and aren't obviously giving any thought to. So I don't know, and I wouldn't say that I do. It may be a very, very lucrative location. It also may be a loser in today's world with the cost of everything.
I mean, I think probably one of the things that's been spoken about a lot out there has really kind of been the kind of condition of Wonderland Pier. It really hasn't been updated. A lot of the rides are not operational at different times, and again, we don't know the full reasoning behind any of that, and whatever the case might be. So Drew, to your point about the notion of someone else coming in to buy it and operate it, in addition to the insurances and all those other things, you're probably having a pretty heavy investment in, either A, repair, or B, purchasing of, new rides to really be able to make it work. But, for years, right? I mean, I think it was a scenario where, Wonderland and Playland went head to head, and it was a pretty, dynamic battle from that perspective to kind of gain market share. And for a long time, I think it was pretty even. And I think over the last several years, that's kind of changed. But, I feel the reality of it is that, yeah, that particular location is viable for a business and was viable for a long time. Does operating these type of businesses, definitely evolve as the minimum wage has gone up and insurance has gone up? I'm sure. But I mean, in my opinion, and, I don't know if it's solely because Gillian's has kind of been on the decline, but it seems to me that right down the boardwalk at, 10th and 11th Street, there's an amusement park that's thriving currently and, doing a great business and, expanding and, doing really good things too. So my feeling is for years, two businesses really survived doing the same type of thing. Another business could, but, I guess, again, that's what is genuinely the next step for that property is something that, I guess we'll all be conjecturing about here for in the short term.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think it looks like if it doesn't reopen next year? If there's nothing there, what does that look like for the north end of the boardwalk? I mean, you're talking really
that's not good. Yeah, that's not
you're
good.
talking
that
really
might
past
be the worst thing that could happen.
8th Street. I mean, 8th Street's kind of the cutoff. Like once you get past, the music pier, what would be your reason to head down there? I mean, Brown's is down there, but that's during the day. Night you have 7th Street Surf Shop that's down there, but even the arcade that was next to 7th Street Surf Shop, that got picked up. You got Goofy Golf down there. I don't know if these are all clearly not the draw that Wonderland is.
Yeah, I can tell you that that a couple of the merchants that I talked to that are close by there, they're concerned. They're very concerned that if Wonderland would be dark in 2025, they're concerned about the traffic in their stores.
Well, think about Atlantic City when it went through kind of the purge of the casinos, and for a while there, which still some are, but a large amount of the casinos were were closed, before, they kind of shifted some of the things that are going on down there right now. If you would drive from, Ocean City, Margate area through Atlantic City, you were just passing these huge buildings that were once, bustling with people and activity that are just completely dark now and, completely barren. And it's almost a creepy, eerie type of feeling.
Yeah.
If that is what's going to become of, the north end of the boardwalk next year, it's certainly not a good thing across the board. It's not good for anybody. So I think if there is some, notion or intention of, some sort of resolution for something along these lines, I don't know what that, what it ultimately is going to be, but if I had to venture a guess, I would say that you're going to see some sort of a construction site there, coming up pretty soon through next year. Now, what that construction is, my guess is probably as good as anybody else that's out there on social media talking about it. I couldn't say that I know anything more, but I would think that the property itself probably is in need of some type of makeover, and I'm not sure you'd be able to see whatever that makeover is completed by, the summer of 2025.
Agreed. Almost anything that were to be planned for that property, if they're gonna, if the current Wonderland Pier is open, through Indian Summer Weekend through October, you're talking about a pretty, 6-7 month turnaround time for another business, if it's going to be some type of amusement business, or if it's something else, then planning and zoning and permits and all that kind of stuff. Can't imagine that's gonna be up and running by next summer.
I would
find
think
that hard to believe.
I would think the city would make that a priority, though. Being that, hey, we need to get this up and running. We can't have this be dark here, come Memorial Day weekend. They gotta push that through. That's gotta be, the city's number one agenda, I would think, personally.
I totally agree. I'm sure that they would do that, but unless there's something happening behind the scenes already, it's August, so to be open by next summer, or to be built out or refurbished or whatever the case may be, that's a big property and it's a short amount of time.
It is. Dom, to kind of your point about the city making it a priority, and Drew, to kind of your point about a lot of conjecture. I mean, I think one point that's kind of been brought up frequently and leads to some of these conspiracy theories, if you will, if they are genuinely conspiracy theories or if they're, potentially not, is and correct me if I'm wrong, if we go back into probably the winter time of last year, there was a few changes, correct, to kind of some of the definition of what is considered on boardwalk and what is considered adjacent to boardwalk that were kind of put through relatively hastily, at one of the city council meetings. And I believe that this has been something that's, kind of, opened the door, I think, for a lot of the different theories that are out there that, this was paving the way for the hotel. This was doing whatever. Again,
that actually can, not to interrupt you, but it was discussed at a city council meeting, but there was never any actual changes to the boardwalk zone. They never actually changed any zoning or any ordinances that changed that zone.
Gotcha. So everything remains as it was before.
Which they did talk about it,
mm-hmm.
which I think feeds into the speculation and the conspiracy theories, but there was never actually any ordinance changes.
Gotcha. So I think that that's really the key fact that everybody's got to kind of look at, whatever business can kind of fit in there in the existing kind of arrangement and the laws that are existing today, that is, whether, the masses like it or not, that's part of business. It's part of, things kind of changing. It's part of the evolution. I think where, where I would personally say I would draw the line on some of the things is when, these rules and regulations that everybody's had to try to abide by for all these years, if they need to be changed to kind of retrofit something in there, that's where I would say, that would ultimately for me raise some concerns. But again, Drew, to your point, if nothing like that's taken place, and then these are the type of theories and thoughts that you get out there. But again, from my perspective, I think I understand it's hard to continually run the same business there for all those years, 94 years. I think that there's statistics, about how many businesses fail after the first year, how many businesses fail after 5 years. And, it's kind of once you hit that 10-year mark, a lot of businesses really kind of sustain. But when you talk about a business being around for 94 years, it's really, it's pretty incredible when you look at some of the things that, you would have transpired over those, over that time frame. You're talking about, right, World War II, you're talking about, some things that are pretty significant. And then you're talking about a time period that we all lived through in COVID. But, for businesses that rely on people kind of showing up and coming through the door and buying tickets, it was right. I mean, we talked about strange and eerie times in Ocean City. COVID timeframe was a very strange and eerie time here in Ocean City. It wasn't, it's crazy. We took it for granted for years, and now it's kind of back to the way it always was. But, some days I think about, wow, what it was like that COVID year, and, just how it was, a very bizarre type of scenario. But those impacted all those boardwalk businesses, no doubt.
Absolutely. And who knows? I mean, the Moreland closed down, right? And look at it today. I mean, it's better than ever. So you never know what might happen to this property. And everybody's got memories, and it's part of what makes it sad that the business closed down. I mean, I remember when I was 12 or 13, I was stuck upside down on the salt and pepper shaker for a half an hour. Probably couldn't do that today. I wouldn't make it, but I remember it like it was last week, and it was with a very good friend. We're still friends, and it's a great memory that we laugh about all the time. And I'm sure everyone has some sort of Wonderland Pier memory. So to have that business closed down is very sad. It's very sad for anyone who has those kind of memories. It's sad for the boardwalk. It's sad for the city, and it's certainly sad for the Gillian family. My heart goes out to them. I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision for them, and I'm sure they're going to be going through some process of grief over this. So I feel bad for them. They're decent people, and they're good people, and they've been good to the community. So I feel bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, I've, again, probably like everybody else, I've seen, kind of the, wide ranging variety of stuff that's out there on social media. Obviously, this is an enormous story. It has enormous impact because everybody has that story like Drew had about the salt and pepper shaker, putting their kids on the little rides. All those things are really kind of valuable to that. And, I've seen, kind of some things that have kind of kind of went away from the business and some of these things, and, been a little more, kind of personal, from the perspective of, a little more personal attacks and things like that. And, the only thing I would say, that, I would kind of, mention was, in the business that I have, I deal with a lot of, people that, are involved with the Chamber of Commerce and different things like that. And when I first started to do a little bit of work with the Ocean City Chamber of Commerce, I assumed that, it was just a scenario where, Michelle was probably handed that job because, Jay was the mayor. And, I, to be completely honest, had kind of low expectations as far as, what she was really going to be doing there. And I have to tell you, I was completely wrong. I deal with a lot of, people that work in those type of scenarios. And I have to say that Michelle was probably one of the best, from that perspective, just being able to look at the type of work that she had done there and things like that. So, that's just from personal experience. And, I've said that before, so it's not as if I haven't said that, at other times. But from my perspective, I think the reality is, there's a lot of things that are going to come down from all of this here in the near term, and I think it's either going to prove some of these conspiracy theories, completely wrong, or people are going to, are people going to say like, hey, this has been the plan all along. But, make no mistake, probably in 90 days from today, if we're, on this same discussion, right, the reality of it is we're going to know that much more. But, right now, I think it's anybody's guess around what's going to happen. But I think, reality is I don't think people that are kind of here in Ocean City that have kind of seen how Gillian's has been operated here over the last year or so with a lot of rides not really operational and things like that are kind of surprised that, things might be going in a different direction for whatever reason that is.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think you're right, Ken. And I think you're right that, in 90 days or 6 months or whatever the time frame is, the social media cowboys are either going to be right or they're going to be wrong. We'll see.
We'll see. Definitely some time to find out. But that's, we'll be. I'm certainly everybody's, going to be continuing to pay attention to the story.
In the meantime, use your tickets if you have them.
Yeah.
Kids up there and use your tickets. Yeah,
I've seen where people are actually donating tickets to kids that might not be able to go, things like that.
Is that right?
Obviously people trying to sell them, whatever they can to use the tickets. People obviously upset. Oh, they never expire. Like, come on, man. Like, cut the dude a break. But
so I'm less concerned about the rides because I'm not a big ride guy, and my son is, almost 20 years old. But the pizza place closing, that's some good pizza up there.
It is good pizza there.
6th Street does have good pizza. I miss it. I like their pizza.
It's all right. Well, we could sit here and speculate and, do whatever. If there's one thing that is certain, is that there's going to be change on that end of the boardwalk. And as we all know, Ocean City does not like change. Whether you're a local, a visitor, or whatever, change is not something that anyone likes here in Ocean City. So, we'll just have to sit back, wait, and see what comes down the pike. But, Ken, we appreciate you being on. Thanks for taking the time to join us tonight.
First time on the show. How the heck did that happen?
You guys said you were going to have me on before, so I'm glad I finally got the invite. So
I always wanted you on. Dom always said no.
I know.
Well,
I didn't go back to rounding, roaming around, roaming about town. Going back to being the man about town. So
I think that was it. Was that we tried to have you on, but you were just about town somewhere.
Yeah, about town. All right.
He's a hard guy to pin. He's a hard guy to pin down.
I'm definitely hard to find. Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to tonight. And to everyone out there who's suffering from Gillian's and upset, cherish your memories. Thank you to Roy, Jay, his brother, Michelle for keeping it going and giving us all those memories. And we'll look forward to seeing what happens next. And best of luck to the Gillians in their next chapter of their life. So
yeah, and thank you to the Gillian family, going back to the grandfather David and Roy and Jay and Michelle for their generosity and commitment to the community for so many years. It is sad that they're closing, but you have to be grateful for the time that they were here, right?
Definitely,
and grateful that you came on the show and offered your perspective, Ken. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I like the title of the show. It's been a good ride. I think that really sums it up.
It has. Well, we look forward to seeing what's happened next. thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been the OCNJ Local, your podcast for everything happening here in America's greatest family resorts. We're your hosts, Dominick Dougherty and Drew Pigty. And that was my ring light falling off my wall for the 5th time
And
today.
we are your local guys.
Peace out, everybody.